It's HBR1, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Next week, Wednesday and Thursday, musical act Megadeth load into the Republic, touring behind their new album Dystopia, but they've been a major force in music for decades, achieving widespread success back in 1986 with the release Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, and putting themselves onto the front lines of current heavy metal. Today, we're fortunate, ahead of their area concerts next week, to get a chance to speak with their leader for all these years, Megadeth guitarist and vocalist Dave Mustaine. Hey, Dave.
Good name.
Isn't that easy?
I should start by saying aloha. Are you a native or are you a haole?
I'm a haole. I was going to ask what your connections were to the island, and I guess you're revealing a little bit of that already.
Well, I've got a lot of history with Hawaii, going to several of the different islands over time. I first went to when I was 15, surfing, had a terrible experience with sea urchin and a friendly native telling me how to deal with it, but I didn't believe him. And eventually got married to Pam there. The 3rd will be our 25th anniversary. We weren't going to be playing the islands, but it means so much to me to be there. It's such a beautiful place that I just pleaded with our management to get us a show there.
So you have a real connection with these dates, obviously some memories of previous experiences. You're coming back. Dystopia is the new Megadeth record, and it means no good place, undesirable society.
It's kind of more like the inside of the apartment that David Ellison and I lived in.
That's a good description, on a personal level.
Yeah. Well, we had a pretty colorful last couple of years with several management changes, and with my mother-in-law getting Alzheimer's, that was really hard. I don't know if you know anybody who's got that disease, but man, that's wicked hard to watch people die from that. I've always been real open with the stuff I've written. It's always been what I'm feeling, and the lyrics kind of like what I'm seeing or experiencing at the time. It was a lot about the sadness I was going through. I didn't realize how sad that record was till I heard it after she was gone. She had wandered off from a campsite and had died, and we didn't find her body for 2 months. So that really rocked my world, and had another management change, had band members quit. It was like, man, don't give up, because something good's going to happen if you don't.
Oh, those are a lot of personal challenges. God bless your mother-in-law and yourself. I know how things can just totally change your life, and I sensed that there was a sea change, I guess it was, the maturity maybe behind some of the themes, and obviously the things that you go through, or that any of us do, change how we approach stuff. I know spirituality has been a path through your life, and it's an important place for people to find solace. It's a place to find inspiration to be kind to others. Where are you these days on that?
See, I think my mentality is very much like island style, because I think that islanders are very much into spirituality, which is what I'm into. And a lot of people believe that I'm into religion because I had said that I had become a Christian. And I see that there's a whole spirit world of stuff that there's good and bad in everybody and all things. I remember when my wife and I first got married, we went over to where the royal burial grounds were there and had done some body work, and went to the Dragonfly Ranch in Kona and had done some lomi and really got in touch with the whole island lifestyle. I think that's something that really affects the way that you look at the world. Do you look at it and think glass half empty or half full?
Also, the effect through your life. I don't have any, but kids, and there's an intense other layer of life spiritually that seems to be going on all around. If you're not paying attention, it's subtle and you may miss it. And I wonder how the impact of the kids has been, too, on your approach.
Well, by the grace of God, my kids turned out pretty good so far. I know a lot of people had thought that my kids were going to be completely demonic and have horns, but I'm really grateful that they did turn out the way that they did. Lecter's pursuing a career in country music. She just released a version of my song, I Thought I Knew It All, from Euthanasia. It's a song that we had recorded as Megadeth back in 1994, and she did such a great version of it. It's really cool. I think that's another really awesome thing about music is when you have an open mind and you can listen to different music types. That's one of the things that Megadeth has is a lot of different musical influences.
Speaking of being open to different genres of music, from talking about your daughter doing a country version of one of your Megadeth songs, there's a funny video online of you and Kenny G. It's a parody video, and maybe you've got a little story to go along with how that came together.
Yeah, that was cool. Kenny, I'd heard that the stuff that you hear, his popular stuff, is pretty tame, and that when he does his own thing and just kind of lets it rip, that he's a shredder. So I looked into that, and he's a freaking monster. I went and I watched him play, and he was super, super genuine and actually had me stand up in the audience during his show to give thanks and attention to me. And I was like, this guy is so classy. And it really changed my outlook towards him. So when we did the Funny or Die thing, that was because, remember how Men's Warehouse used to go, I absolutely love the way you're going to look. Hey. I remember I'd bought a suit from them for my tour manager, and they totally botched it up. And I said, come on, man, just make it right, and we'll be all good. And he said no. And I was like, okay, I'm going to tell the world now. And I tweeted about it, and I put it on my Facebook page. And so that's what the whole pun was on the Funny or Die skit.
It's not only a fun video, but it sort of defies some of the stereotypes that go along with heavy metal. And finally, as we go to wrap it up, thinking about other artists that have had a role in your life, I know Kiss at Anaheim Stadium, 76, your first concert.
Yeah, that concert was great. You know, I was in high school at the time, and there were these two crazy girls that were best friends. And so I asked Gina, the one, to go with me to the Kiss concert. And, you know, I didn't have a driver's license. I was underage still at the time. So I snagged my mom's car, drove to Anaheim Stadium. And I remember we walked in there, and concert started, and we just started partying. And before you know it, I'm by myself. And I remember walking back to the car and driving back home, and the next time I saw her, I was thinking nothing even happened.
Other critical musical influences in the earliest part of your life?
Well, I was a kid who had two nephews that were close in age to me. I was living with my sister who had that nephew, and I was in his room when my cousin's husband had showed up, and he had a Les Paul guitar. And for some reason, I just thought it looked cool. He handed it to me, showed me how to do a power chord, and that was it for a couple of years. I did it and put it down and completely walked away from it. But then my sister met this guy, and he was playing, and that was it. I thought that's the coolest thing. I had been listening to Zeppelin, and actually the first thing that I learned was Panic in Detroit, and then going from there was a little bit more tougher stuff. I got to say probably the biggest influence for me guitar-wise was between Jimmy Page, maybe, and a little bit of a guy, I don't know if you know this guy, Brian Tatler.
From the British band Diamond Head.
Yeah, he's pretty obscure, but for me, those first couple records were the ones that, you know, changed the world when myself and James heard those guys.
You've had a remarkable career, and I really appreciate talking both spirituality, talking about music, your kids. I invite you when you're here. We have a great studio. I'd love to have you come in, maybe play something acoustic if you wanted, do something right around your anniversary too, which I hope is a good one for you, Brother Dave.
Well, we'll be spending it in paradise, so it's all cool, all right? I would love that.
Well, that would be cool. I give you a hug, a high five, and be safe. Thank you very much today. It was great talking.
You're welcome. Thank you too, Dave. Aloha, buddy. Bye-bye.